name's Lorraine, and today I'm going to be talking of a subject of precarious eviction, because I myself have been through a situation with an ex-partner who promised 50% of the value of the property, and within a few days was then becoming very threatening, intimidating, and telling me that I could be thrown out onto the streets. And for all that I had trusted him in the relationship, that trust was broken during the relationship. Had to rebuild that trust, and then at the end of the relationship again the trust was broken because he'd promised financial settlement. He wrote out a letter of his financial offer, gave it to me to look at, and immediately I said I needed time to think. I wasn't going to answer straight away. I did think about it, and eventually then wrote my my proposal around the 12th of September. It was a week or so after the relationship had ended. Now, he'd already threatened me. On the 4th of September, I'd already been threatened. He was in control. I had to do as he says, or I could be thrown out onto the streets. So there was already intimidation and threats. So by the time it come to my proposal, we were supposed to sit down and talk on the 15th of September. And we started that basic conversation where I'd asked him that it should be recorded. I was already fearful that he would be angry, and so he agreed that we could record this meeting. It lasted around 23 minutes in our lounge in the house in Spain, and during that meeting I was unable to speak. He basically began to get angry. He was telling me what he needed and what he wanted, and shut me down because when I asked could I open my iPad to look at the email that I'd actually written to him, my proposal, I wasn't even allowed to look at the email so I could discuss the points that I'd raised and the things that I wanted to talk about. So that 23-minute long conversation ended up being a one-sided verbal onslaught by him against me, where I felt so intimidated, so threatened, fearful, and I just knew that from that point there was really no point in trying to talk or communicate anything to him. And even though that happened on the 15th, he didn't leave. He didn't leave until the 24th of September. And the house was on the market, and I was expecting people to come and view. And what happened was he was still in control. He was sending me emails, actually telling me, here is what I expect of you in the email, and a list of all the things that he wanted me to do to make sure the house was okay for these people who were coming round to view. But in my state of anxiety and trauma and grief from the way he terminated the relationship, because it just ended really suddenly, there was no warning. In fact, that night we had entertained some friends, and he'd asked me to come and sit on his knee and give him a kiss. And I obviously did that, not expecting that that same night he would end our relationship. So that was how sudden it was. That was how traumatic it was for me. For 1 minute to be in a relationship and looking forward to retirement together, he'd actually committed to moving the furniture from the UK, and the van hadn't even arrived. The van with the furniture hadn't even arrived. and he terminated the relationship. So that was how much of a shock it was. So what I want to talk about is the possibilities of unveiling gender violence in precarious forced evictions and protecting women's rights, because I found that going through the court process, it was basically already a drawn conclusion that I would be evicted, and my public free defence lawyer actually told me the judge will order your eviction. And so there was no defence put, there was no evidence put, and there was no questions asked of the plaintiff, and I didn't get the opportunity to speak in the verbal hearing in the court at Cartagena. So this is why I found it's really important to look at unveiling the gender violence in precarious forced evictions and protecting women's rights. So just a quick introduction. Welcome back to our channel, where we are exploring the critical issues impacting our society today. We delve into the topic that often remains hidden in the shadows, but it's a harsh reality for many women around the world: precarious forced eviction at the end of intimate cohabiting relationships. So let's explore how and why forced eviction should be recognised as an act of gender violence, emphasising the importance of questioning motives and gathering evidence before any eviction orders are issued. The unseen reality. Precarious forced eviction occurs when a woman is compelled to leave her home at the end of an intimate cohabiting relationship. Often, the woman has been living precarious, not having had title to the property because it is registered solely in the name of the spouse or partner. This leaves her vulnerable, and in cases of what is known as coercive controlling behaviour, there may be financial abuse, emotional and psychological abuse, isolation from family and friends, leaving her without a support system. The traumatic experience is more than just losing a place to live. It is an infringement on a person's basic human rights, especially when we consider the gender dynamics involved. Forced eviction is gender violence. Forced eviction can be seen as a form of gender violence due to the power imbalances that exist within the intimate relationship. When a woman is forcibly removed from the home, it not only affects her physical well-being, but also has profound emotional and psychological consequences, often resulting in anxiety or trauma injuries. Recognising forced eviction as a form of gender violence is crucial to addressing the underlying issues and ensuring justice for the victims. Questioning motives. In many cases, the motives behind the eviction might not be clear-cut. It is essential to question the plaintiff's motives thoroughly. Is the eviction truly based on reasonable grounds, or is it a tool of control and coercion? By scrutinising the motives, we can uncover potential abuse of power and manipulation within the relationship. Evidentiary standards. To ensure a fair and just legal process, evidence should be the cornerstone of any eviction case. This involves not only hearing the plaintiff's side, but also giving due consideration to the defendant's perspective. Judges should actively seek evidence of coercion, intimidation, or domestic violence in a relationship before issuing any eviction notice. The importance of empathy. Understanding the complexities of intimate relationships is crucial in handling eviction cases. Judges must approach these situations with empathy and a keen awareness of power imbalances. A nuanced understanding of the dynamics at play will help in making more informed decisions and prioritise the safety and the well-being of the individuals involved. Conclusion. In conclusion, precarious forced eviction against women at the end of intimate cohabiting relationships is a critical issue that deserves our attention. By recognising forced eviction as a form of gender violence, questioning motives and establishing evidentiary standards, we can work towards a more just legal system that protects the rights of women in vulnerable situations. Let's raise awareness about this issue and advocate for a fair and empathetic approach to eviction cases, ensuring that justice is served for all. Thank you for joining us on this important discussion, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe for more content on pressing social issues. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.